The England squad was announced last week. There's been a lot of controversy over it. A lot of people giving their opinions on the squad. Some people agree with it. Some people disagree. I'm just going to give my thoughts on it, on which players I believe should be in the squad and which ones shouldn't. So as you can see on the screen now, we've got the full England lineup. All the players that have been picked for the upcoming European qualifiers. A lot of controversy around it recently. There's a few people who have been complaining about some of the selections from Gareth Southgate, and we know in the past he's been very favourable, I suppose is the word, towards certain players. Some people get picked for the squad purely for name basis alone, let's be honest here. It's always been the case with England. It always was under Roy Hodgson. Players get picked based on the club they're at a lot of the time. Some of them get picked based on their name. It's a very favourable selection for a lot of them. So just going through, we'll start off with the goalkeepers. We've got Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale and Sam Johnston. Notable exclusion being Nick Pope for Newcastle. I personally agree with the three that have been picked. I think Pickford at the moment, the way he's playing, especially in that Wolves game, the Sheffield United game even, I thought he was superb. Saved them at the last minute with that triple save that he made. Ramsdale, the Arsenal number one, been a bit shaky, but I think in terms of your backup keeper, he is still the best for the England squad. As a starter even, he can take in over Pickford. They can sort of rotate between the two. And then you've got Sam Johnson, who, Crystal Palace now, 7th in the table. They've been playing fairly well, actually. Whereas Nick Pope, Newcastle have been struggling over the first few games. I think this is the right call. I think Pope looked shaky, especially in, say, the Liverpool game and the Brighton game in particular. He led to one of the goals. I believe it was the first one, where he tried to run out, be a sweeper keeper, cost them the goal. So yeah, happy with this. I think these are the right choices. Then we move into the defence. We've got Ben Chilwell, Levi Colwill, Lewis Dunk, Mark Gahey, Harry Maguire, Fikayo Tomori, Kyle Walker, Kieran Trippier and Trent Alexander-Arnold. The big talking point, I think, Harry Maguire. Why is he in the team? I don't think anyone can make a justification for this. Yes, he plays well for England at times. I do think it gets sort of blown out of proportion how well he actually does play for England. But he doesn't play. He doesn't get into the United team. And when he did the other day, Arsenal scored 2 in the 98th and 100th minute. He doesn't provide anything. Obviously, I know John Stones is injured, that he would have been called up, maybe in replacement of him, but knowing Gareth Southgate, he would have probably taken Tomori out over him. But the reason for Maguire being called up, there's no justification for it. The rest of the defenders, I mean, Ben Chilwell's been playing well for Chelsea. Levi Colwill, young up-and-coming centre-back, he needs the opportunity. He was great with the under-21s. Mark Gahey, as I say, Crystal Palace have been solid. Tomori, I haven't seen a lot of AC Milan this season, I won't lie. But again, he's talented. A lot of people were saying he should have got picked for the World Cup. He didn't. Maybe he would have made the difference, who knows. Fullback-wise, for the right-back even, Kyle Walker, Kieran Trippier and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, Trent, let's be honest, he's not going to play as a right-back. He's going to move into the midfield. He's going to play as that deep line playmaker like he did in the last international games where he was man of the match, scored the goal, and I think he got an assist as well. For me, I'd be starting Kyle Walker on form, possibly the best right back in the world. I think this City team gets the best out of him. He's quick, he's versatile. If he goes into a back three, he can play along in one of those back three roles. And Trippier, with Newcastle struggling the way they are, I don't think it's best to throw him straight in. He's good on a set piece, but I'd still think Walker. And Trent, if you are playing him, he needs to go into that midfield role. Speaking of the midfield, we've got Conor Gallagher, Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, Jordan Henderson, Calvin Phillips, James Maddison, and Eberechi Eze. I can never pronounce that name, I'm sorry. And this is where a lot of the main controversy comes into the squad. Now, Conor Gallagher, yeah, he's been okay at times for Chelsea this season. He looked good against Liverpool in particular. And I thought he actually looked decent against Luton Town as well. He seemed to play very well there. Bellingham is just first name in this whole selection sheet. He's on fire at Real Madrid at the moment. Declan Rice, yeah, understandable. It's the next two where things get controversial. Jordan Henderson should not be making this team, as much as I love him. Should not be in this team. 34 years old now. He's playing in the Saudi League. And yes, I know Gareth Southgate says, well, we go off form, air quotes, not name. But how can you... He's in a league with quality worse than the Championship. There's a few star players here and there, but it's like the MLS. When they signed the likes of Beckham and then Zlatan went over, Javier Hernandez, Lampard, Gerrard, the overall quality of the league didn't improve. It's just they've signed players who are good. So there's no reason for Henderson to be picked in this. The league he's in is not of a good standard or good quality. It does not make sense. He should not be picked for this team. If it's for leadership, I kind of understand that. But when you've got the likes of, Kyle Walker, Harry Kane, even Marcus Rashford at this point, Declan Rice, you don't need it. Henderson doesn't really provide anything in that midfield, and we saw that in the last selections for the World Cup. There was nothing he really provided that these younger and more energetic players could. And the same goes for Calvin Phillips. He doesn't play. He's injured. He's injured 90% of the time. He can't even get into the City team for the friendlies or the Community Shield. So why is he being picked for England? There is other midfielders that could be picked. I think James Ward-Prowse in particular, he's on 1 goal and 3 assists this season. He's the best free kick taker in the world. When you've got Declan Rice and all these other midfielders who are box-to-box, like Conor Gallagher, for example, you don't need Calvin Phillips. We play too defensively for the team that we've got. There's no need for someone who doesn't play and isn't in this team to be in the team. He doesn't play in City even, to be in this team. It doesn't make sense. So that one's... there's 2 there that should be gone. James Maddison, yeah, speaks for itself. Eze, yeah, speaks for itself. Outstanding start to the season. Marcus Rashford, I think Rashford's one of those players that he's the same thing as Henderson and Phillips. No matter how his form is, no matter how he's getting on, he's still going to get into the team, let's be real. He did score against Arsenal, but other than that, has he really done a great deal this season? I'm not convinced. Jack Grealish, yeah, got no issue there. Bukayo Saka, I think behind Bellingham, for me, is the second choice for this team. His stats speak for themselves. He's outstanding. He was brilliant at the World Cup. He's young. He's my ideal Salah replacement should he leave Liverpool. I mentioned in my previous video. Phil Foden, mercurial talent, 100% needs to go. Harry Kane, yeah, completely agree. He's England's go-to, let's be honest. He doesn't perform great at the tournaments, I have to say. I mean, I think the 2018 World Cup, yeah, top scorer, but he's still world class, but he does struggle in the tournament sometimes in that England kit. Eddie Nketiah, again, bit of a controversial one. I personally would have took Ollie Watkins. Yes, he hasn't scored this season, but he's provided 2 assists. He's energetic and he's had chances. Definitely. I think I'd swap Eddie Nketiah for him. That's not to say Eddie Nketiah is bad by any means. He's still talented, still a great player, but he's Arsenal's number 2, and I think I'd be taking Aston Villa's number 1 over that, personally. And Callum Wilson, the same. When he comes on for Newcastle, he's a super sub, essentially. Maybe that's what Southgate's going for. Maybe that's what he wants. I have no issue with Callum Wilson particularly going. I think he is a great player. But is there no one better? Is there not a better player out there that could have gone in his place? Again, like Ollie Watkins. I mean, maybe it's a difficult one to say, really. But yeah, I mean, a bit of a quick rundown, just that whole thing. Overall, it's not perfect. We've got a lot of talent. We're very blessed with the options that we have, but there's a few in there that clearly have just been picked on a name basis alone. We're still going to qualify. We always qualify with almost a perfect group, if not a perfect group result. So it is what it is. Hopefully in the future we start to see a bit more of a change with this squad. Personally, I'm not overly keen on it, but I want to get your guys' thoughts. Thank you for listening. I'm going to try and upload as regularly as possible on Good Sports Review. Please do subscribe. Please keep an eye out for more content, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you very much.